The Sony A9 Mark III is real. It's going to be getting 8K video, and a January announcement is just 2 weeks away. This and more after the intro. Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning in to The Ordinary Filmmaker. Subscribe to get notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss any news like this, rumors, gear reviews, or tutorials. I'm also giving away a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. Details are in the description down below, or you can watch this video here. And I recommend watching the video and catching the terms and conditions because there are some age and location restrictions. But now, on to today's big news. The Sony A9 Mark III is going to be announced in CES 2021, so that's just a couple of weeks away. And the big news is that it's going to be having 8K video at up to 30 frames per second, so that's 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. Now there's no mention on whether it has RAW or not, but I want you to take a trip back with me. Let's go back almost a full year ago. When we heard that first rumor that the Canon EOS R5 was going to have 8K, there was utter disbelief. I mean, this was Canon. They had been lagging the market for years, and the idea that Canon was going to give us 8K, IBIS, 4K 130, uncropped, and with autofocus in all modes, it just seemed ridiculous. Then they released the camera, and we found out it did have overheating, and it overheated in 8K, it overheated in 4K 120, 4K 60, 4K 30 HQ mode, which kind of put a damper on it, and a lot of us had said, or a lot of you had said that, well, you know, this is kind of expected. I mean, what do you expect out of a small body like that? Well, I've got a bit of news for you. The Sony A9 Mark III is supposed to have 8K video at up to 30 frames per second in a pro body, so it's a really rugged built body, and it's not supposed to have any overheating whatsoever. Now, I believe this. It's not like January last year when we got this information about the R5, and it just seemed to come out of nowhere. 8K is kind of a big deal. The Olympics. Many events coming up have said they're going to be broadcasting in 8K, so 8K is becoming a thing, especially for professionals, which is definitely where this camera is aimed. 8K is becoming more and more of a bigger deal. Now, for the ordinary filmmaker, not so much, but remember, this is a pro body, it's a professional body, it's going to be a bigger body than the A7S III, and it is possible to produce 8K video at 30 frames per second without overheating. Now, there was a video done not too long ago where they took the R5, took it apart, and they put in a copper plate just under one of the circuit boards, and that copper plate attached to the body. And what they were able to do, and this was in room temperature, mind you, they didn't test it outside in the blaring heat, but they were able to record hours and hours of 8K video. So I definitely believe that the A9 Mark III does have 8K, that it's going to be able to shoot without overheating, and that's kind of a big deal. The question to you I have is, are you willing to pay a premium for that? Is this enough to get you to switch from Canon's R5 to the Sony A9 Mark III? Where does this have you? Do you have Canon gear? Do you have Sony gear? I'd really like to get your thoughts on this. According to Sony rumors, this is going to be a completely new design. There's not going to be anything in this thing that's going to be left untouched. New sensor, new body, new, well, everything. That's going to be pretty impressive. It's going to have IBIS. And I think this is going to be a truly exciting camera. And if it's only 2 weeks away, it's a little bit frustrating. I wish we had more time to kind of chew on this and to digest it. The Canon R5, we knew about that back January the 27th, 28th. That's when we got the first rumor. And I believe that was a leaked rumor from Canon's marketing department. We didn't get the camera to what, July 30th? And we had their announcement around, what, July the 9th, July the 10th. So we had many, many months of building anticipation. We don't have any of that here. And again, this is what's really stunning me about this rumor and what's stunning me about this camera. This is a professional camera. This is high-end. This is flagship level. And generally these cameras, they're stills cameras. And this is a stills hybrid camera. It's in a stills body. No matter how great it does 8K video, it is still aimed at photographers. It's aimed at people that do fast action sports photography. So I'm kind of staggered in a little bit that this camera is going to be coming out. It's going to be announced in January, and I think that makes a lot of sense. The Olympics are going to happen this year. Now, they were supposed to happen last year, and they were postponed due to COVID. But with the vaccine being shipped, I think what's going to happen, they're going to make sure that anybody who's participating in the Olympics are going to get their shots, and the Olympics are going to go ahead of schedule, and we know what dates those are going to be, so we know that these cameras are going to be out in the field long before then, because Sony, they want to see their cameras. When the TV crews are filming this event, they want people to see the Sony cameras in the shots and not just Canon. So this is really incredible. And of course, what this tells us too is we're not just going to get the A9, but Canon's going to release their flagship camera, the R1, a mirrorless version of the 1DX Mark III, which was released last year. So that's going to be an upgrade, not just a mirrorless version like they did with the 5D Mark IV in releasing the EOS R. It simply was just a mirrorless version of the 5D Mark IV. We're also going to get Nikon's mirrorless version of their flagship camera, the D6. And I don't know what it's going to be called, whether it's going to be called the Z8 or Z9, or if you're in the lower 48, the Z6 and Z9. See, I'm used to saying Z. I lived in New Zealand, England, Canada, and the United States, but I just grew up with Z. It just feels right. So in terms of the announcement, CES 2021, we know that. In terms of when it's going to be made available, that we don't know. Well, we do know that obviously it's going to be before July because the Olympics usually start towards the end of July. I would be surprised if we didn't have a release somewhere May at the latest, and maybe as early as March, April. Really hard to say now in terms of the price. So the Canon R5 full-frame mirrorless camera, 8K video, RAW, can shoot up to 20 minutes at room temperature, around 73 degrees or 23 degrees Celsius, is priced at $38.99. This Sony? Well, we don't know the exact price, but it's going to be somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000. That's the body alone. It's definitely a premium over the R5. So if you're a professional sports photographer, which of these two cameras, based on what you've heard, appeals to you? And I know what you're thinking. What are the photo specs, Simon? And we don't know. There's no photo specs here. This is primarily about 8K video, all new body. Everything's redesigned. It's going to have a 9.44 million EVF. Big deal. The A7S III had that. It's going to have the same menu system as the A7S III. We know it's going to have dual card slots, most likely CF Express or Type A or Type B. We don't know that yet. But in terms of the specs, it's similar to what Canon did, is they just hyped up all the video. The video got the headlines, leaving, a photo-centric camera void of any specifications. So that's the one thing we don't have right now. We don't have any specifications, but CES is literally just 2 weeks away. It's currently, December the 18th right now. And that means that 2 weeks from now, we're going to be right in the middle of CES. So I'm going to be watching this closely, even though Christmas is coming up. Now, I've got 2 weeks off. Any more updates on this, I'm going to let you know. But it's going to be a very, very exciting year. I dare say that 2021 is going to be more exciting than 2020. We got a lot of things coming out. Canon's going to do their R1. Canon's going to come out with a bunch of entry-level cameras, a replacement of the EOS RP, a replacement of the Canon EOS R. Well, actually, a camera that's going to sit between the current EOS R and the R6, so it's going to be mid-priced and mid-capable. Then we got Nikon coming out with their flagship camera, the Z8 or Z9, whichever one it's going to be called. Will it have 8K video? We don't know, but that's the trend right now, to put these in the flagship cameras. And of course, Sony, we're going to get the A7 IV, and that's going to be announced in the first half, available in the first half. But the flagship camera, the A9 Mark III, it's going to be announced at CES and available sometime before the Olympics. So that's really, really exciting. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. Oh, one last thing before I go. Saturday, I was due to have my Q&A video, and I'm still aiming for that date. But if you don't see it, it's just going to be there on Sunday. Lots going on right now. This video I wasn't expecting to do. I've got a lot of things getting ready for Christmas. So if it's not there Saturday morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, it will be there Sunday morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. But that really is it for now. Thanks so much for subscribing to The Ordinary Filmmaker. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, because I'm giving away a Synco Lav S6E and M3 shotgun and lab microphones to one lucky viewer once this channel reaches 20,000 subscribers, which is just 1,000 subscribers away. And then for every 10,000 or so subscribers after that, I'm going to be offering up a better and more expensive prize, all the way up to $100,000. And I've already got a prize for $30,000. It's going to be a pair of Angelbird SD cards, dual V90 SD cards. I'll get into the details in a separate video. I'll be awarding that at $30,000, and then at $100,000, and this is huge, I'm going to be giving away a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. And on that bombshell, not that the A9 Mark III wasn't also a bombshell, thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.